Good morning. Hi, everybody. All right. So, this morning I'd like to begin our practice with 1,000 Hands Buddha. It's a mudra meditation that I think all of us here have done before. I don't know if you have, but it's easy. It can be done standing or seated or even laying down. And just a quick recap for those of you who it's new to. So we move through different mudras, which are hand gestures. The word mudra means gesture. It also means seal, in that we're kind of creating a seal in our body that allows energy or encourages energy to move in a certain way. And so all of these different mudras that we move through have a particular resonance with the heart and the heart meridian, which runs, beginning in the heart, but it emerges actually in the center of our armpit. And then it runs down the inner aspect of our arm to our elbow and down this inner aspect of our forearm, and then through the palm and out the inner pinky. So that's the heart meridian. And its paired meridian, the small intestine, actually begins on the outside of the pinky and runs up the outside of the forearm and then around the shoulder, and then kind of weaves its way through the shoulder blade and then up the shoulder onto the neck and the jaw in front of, or into the cheek, and then branching back right in front of the ear. So these areas are areas that as we're doing these mudras, you may feel. And that's kind of the point where, we're getting these sinew meridians charged up and activated so that we can feel them. And sometimes, in our shoulders and neck as we're holding a mudra, it might feel a little tight. It might feel a little challenging even. And that is because we're charging up the sinew meridian with this yang energy, and it's running into the places that are a little stagnant, maybe a little blocked, a little icy, so to speak. And so we're aware of that. And so the invitation is, if you're feeling any discomfort or any challenge, definitely adjust as needed so that you can maintain the mudra. And we won't hold them forever, so don't worry about that. But so that you can maintain the mudra, but also really just breathe and be with what's there and feel. And, maybe don't know too much about why it's there. Just let it be there and allow it to maybe evolve and move and unblock and get flowing. So that's that about that. So now we can just experience this form. And so we can begin with the first mudra, which is diamond mudra. So one hand on top of the other and the thumbs touching. And so this is sometimes referred to as the cosmic mudra. But in this context, it's referred to as the diamond mudra because diamonds are very stable, the most stable substance that we know of on this planet. And so we begin dropping into stability. And so just taking a few moments, we can still bring our awareness to the three treasures, to our alignment and the sensations of our alignment. And noticing our breath, movement of our breath through our bodies, how the breath can help to refine our alignment. And allowing the sensations of the body and the breath to be the focus of the mind. Feeling your seat on the cushion, and maybe even, through your seat, it's like you're extending down through your sits bones, which helps your spine to rise up and lift all the way up to the the base of the skull, the back of the head. Maybe thinking about slightly lifting the back of your head up and back so that you can feel a little bit of stretch. The base of the skull and the sits bones reaching away from each other, or the base of the skull and your heel bones if you're standing. A lot of people go to my Qigong teacher with questions about what to do, and she always has the same answer. I've told this story before, so if you've heard it before, please indulge me. Her answer is always the same. It's Ding Xing Shu Ling, which translates as stability, calmness, emptiness, illumination. And I think in times like these, the question always comes up, what do we do? What action do we take? And I would offer that if you're asking that question, then the answer would be find stability. And if you can find stability, feeling the ground beneath you, feeling your feet on the ground, breathing into your body, feeling the movement of your breath, doing that until things calm down within ourselves. Might not calm down anywhere else, but finding calmness and ease within ourselves. And as things calm, settle, maybe there might be some emptiness or some spaciousness. Our ideas about what things are and what's happening, what will happen, who's this and who's that, all of our judgments, can find some space around them, not be so triggered. And from that place of emptiness, of stillness, spaciousness, there's the opportunity for illumination to arise. Call it illumination, call it insight. And at that point, we're probably not asking, what do I do? Because we know what to do. What is the appropriate action? So again, if you're asking, what do I do? How do I be? How do I deal? Stability, calmness, emptiness, illumination, in that order. We often want illumination first. We want to know what to do, even when we're not stable or calm. But the old Einstein saying is still true. Problems are not solved by the same thinking that created those problems. So this diamond mudra is a place to start. The next mudra establishing the aura. Let's take a breath here. As you exhale, just let your hands slide off your lap, out in front. And then another inhale, you can reach out and up, continuing to inhale as you stretch your arms up overhead. And then exhale, open wide. Let your hands come to rest, palm up on your thighs. Establishing the aura. Feeling into what you feel, how you feel within you and in your immediate surroundings. Just being with what is. And if being with what is feels a little challenging, you can always do this again. So let's do the movement again. We can come into Diamond Mudra. Take a breath in. As you exhale, the hands can slide off your lap. As you inhale, you can reach out and up. Stretch. And then exhale. Hands coming to rest, palm up on the thighs. Breathing deeply. So not trying to necessarily change what is or move away from what is or even cling to what is, but just to create space so that we can be with what is. The next mudra, I'll mirror you. We can bring our right hand across to our left shoulder. Left hand to the right shoulder. The left hand will float down as the right hand comes up. So left hand at the level of the lower dantian, right hand at the level of the third eye. And then leading with the left hand close to the body, we switch. The left hand comes up, the right hand comes down. We'll let the right hand continue out and around, circling to then come to rest, palm up on the thigh. The left palm faces away. You can find statues of the Buddha in this position. And these statues are usually referred to as the fearless Buddha. I first learned this mudra as assurance and protection. But now, thanks to a different teacher, I think of it as strong back, soft front. Having a strong back means having an ability to collect ourselves, to stabilize ourselves in the midst of difficulty and complexity and challenge. Can we stand with a strong back And with that strong back, still maintain a soft front, still be available and present to what is. Still be able to take compassionate action. Sometimes when things are hard, we want to have a hard front, so things don't penetrate, so that we're guarded like a shield. But this is different than that. This is a strong back and a soft front. Change sides, so bringing the left hand across to the right shoulder, the right hand to the left shoulder. Let the right hand drop, and the left hand rises. And then switch. The right hand rises close to the body. The left hand circles out and comes in to rest, palm up on the thigh as the right hand faces out. Still rooted through our sits bones, still lifting up and back through the base of our skull. Maybe noticing some held tension around the shoulder blade, maybe up into the neck, maybe radiating down the arm. Just letting that be, breathing with that sensation, allowing it to change. Ice to water, water to steam. And then from here, we can let the right hand float down and we can cross our wrists. And like we did for establishing the aura, let's take a breath. And then exhale. As we inhale, you can reach your arms out and up. Stretch. Exhale, open wide. This time, let your palms face down towards the ground. The name of this mudra is sitting on the lotus. And so, taking care to not let your shoulders round forward, but the collarbones are up. The arms, the hands slightly rotated outwards so that the chest is open wide. We're still reaching up and back through the base of the skull. And maybe like a gentle intention, just an intention of the arms, the palms moving towards the ground at a gentle 45-degree angle. And that downward movement of the arms allows the upward movement to rise through the spine and to bloom open in the center of the chest. Feeling the space around the heart, feeling the energy of the heart blooming like a lotus. And maybe there's tension there, maybe there's resistance to the opening, which is fine, just feel that. The name of this mudra always brings to mind the phrase from Thich Nhat Hanh, no mud, no lotus. So allowing difficulties and challenges, if we can have a strong back and a soft front, to be with them, to bear witness to them while maintaining stability and calmness and emptiness, then illumination, the lotus, can bloom from those challenges. Insight, understanding, right action. Next mudra, we can inhale our hands up, shoulder level, and exhale, palms facing forward. You don't have to straighten your arms, just in a comfortable way. And thinking about spreading through the pinkies, opening the palm, the center of the palm, opening it up wide. The palms are an extension of our hearts. Warm hand to warm hand. Presence. Touch, the first medicine. Touching what is, facing the truth of what is. Recognizing that in that truth, what is includes everything. Maybe noticing our own tendency to other those we disagree with. Judging those who judge. Contributing to the conflicts that we lament. From here, we can bring the index fingers and thumbs of each hand together. Bring index fingers and thumbs of both hands together. And allow your hands to float back to the center of your heart. And again, if your hands are folding in, if your lotus is wilting, see if through the pinkies you can spread, stretch. Breathe into the center of your chest. Reach up and back through the base of your skull. Return awareness to the innate, noble heart. And then from here, we can return to Diamond Mudra. Returning to the stability of this posture, the stability of our posture. And in that stable breath, in that stable posture, we can feel our breath. We can calm our breath. And with stable posture and calm breathing, we can allow the mind to settle, to become spacious, empty. From emptiness, we allow the possibility of illumination, of insight, awareness, and understanding. When you're ready, you can bring your hands together. Thank you for practicing that abbreviated form of 1,000 Hands Buddha with me. Rub our palms together gently. And we can just gently massage our faces a couple times. And over the scalp a couple times. Down the back of the neck and around. Over the chest, to the lower ribs and onto the belly. Around the waist, to the lower back and the kidneys. We can draw our hands out, shake them out. All right. Ding, Xing, Shu, Ling. So, we are currently in the 6th phase of winter, the 6th and final phase of winter. According to the Chinese cosmology, spring begins about the middle of next week. The phase that we're in now is called greater cold or major cold. And the idea of this, because it's right before spring, and so this idea of the cold, like the major cold that we're feeling, we had some snow, ice storms across places that normally don't get ice storms, maybe in the south, in the northeast, yes, but this cold, this pressing in of the cold, the pressing in of the oppression and the fear and all of that that's going in, that is what creates the rebound. That energy of the cold is what gets the seed to say, enough! I'm going to grow, I'm going to expand, I'm going to create something different, something new, a new year, a new beginning. This is the idea of major cold. So, it's going on. It is happening. And the Chinese New Year this year is a late start. It doesn't start until the 17th of February, which is fairly late. And so we're not in the year of the horse yet. We're still in the year of the wood snake. And this wood snake, it's like shedding of skins. And so again, even with this theme of major cold and this last bit of the shedding of the skins, it becomes very clear, what isn't working? What can we really let go of? What skins can be shed? In a deep way, really looking honestly at our lives and ourselves, and what do we not want to bring forward into the year of the horse? Because when we think about, the Chinese astrology and the cycle of the animals, it's not just random that one animal comes after the other, and so when we think about snakes going underground, being very quiet and still, kind of mysterious, shedding skins, renewal, and what comes out of that? A horse, this great big thoroughbred, that is very much something. Out of nothing comes something. It's obvious, it's powerful, it's strong, it has so much, not just potential, but actualized potential. And so again, this being this time, this end of the wood snake year, it's what is it? And not just, I would like it if these things out here fell away and we didn't have to deal with them anymore, but what about us? What is it that we do every day that contributes to a society that is the way that it is? Can we be maybe less aggressive in how we grind our coffee in the morning? Or have you ever thought about, I remember I had a friend who, when she typed on the computer, it was loud. It was there was aggression, And so it's can we notice that? Can we look at all the different ways. Or again, like, oh, I wish the world was calmer and peaceful, and God damn it, this person in front of me is not driving well enough. It's like, what's going on there? What's the disconnect? You know, so like, I feel like this is the time to do those types of things, to look at that in a really deeply honest way and really assess, how can we be more nonviolent in everything that we do? How can we be nonviolent in our resistance to what it is that we don't like? How can we be at ease within ourselves as we're taking an action against oppression or against something that we perceive to be wrong and unjust? You know, it's not easy, but I think that's why we're here. We're here because we were made for these times. And so, you know, rather than shying away from it, I think we can lean into it. Like, that's what the year of the horse is about, you know. Lean into it. Ride the horse. Take the horse by the reins and ride where you want to go. Don't just be carried off into oblivion. Okay. I guess there's that about that. And then, and maybe just to share a poem that was shared with me, because it speaks to, you know, these times. There's a lot going on, and there's difficulty. So this is a poem that was actually written by a Russian woman, Anna Akhmatova, and it was written in 1921 in the thick of the Russian Revolution, where her husband had been taken and executed for, you know, false conspiracy charges. Things were being taken away from people. People were living in poverty. It was not good times. And so she wrote this poem. Everything is plundered, betrayed, sold. Death's great black wings scrapes the air. Misery gnaws to the bone. Why then do we not despair? By day, from the surrounding woods, cherries blow summer into town. At night, the deep, transparent skies glitter with new galaxies. And the miraculous comes so close to the ruined, dirty houses, something not known to anyone at all, but wild in our breast for centuries. Something not known to anyone at all, but wild in our breast for centuries. Like, heart energy. It also brings to mind, you know, the poem that a lot of people were talking about after the most recent U.S. election, the Chinese poem, very short. Nation shattered, mountains and rivers remain. And so, you know, it is easy. I've heard this from a lot of people recently. Everything is so messed up. Everything. And I think it's easy to then condition ourselves to believe that. But that's not true. You know, I think there's a statement that we can counter any statement with. That's partially true, but it's not absolutely totally true. And so remembering that is important. Everything isn't terrible. There are terrible things that are happening every day of every year throughout history. But there's also good things that are existing right now as well, and good things that are happening in response to the terrible things that are happening. And so it's important to remember that, because I also feel like that is a step towards stability. As opposed to groundlessness and chaos, we can remember that, yeah, not everything is terrible, not everything is going wrong. And so within that, there's some stability, there's some calm, and then we can start to let go of what we think we know and not know. And then what happens? What can happen? All right. So thank you for listening to all of that. And now we can do some practice to help move this stuff through our bodies. So I do want to do, probably a little bit of shaking and just discharging, and then moving into a form that it's been a while since we've done it. It's Huigong for the heart. Because again, the horse is the animal associated with the heart. And we're moving into a heart year, and a lot of our hearts are very heavy right now. And so just getting some of that moving and clearing out, I think, would be useful. Not just for now, but for the rest of the year, the rest of our lives. So we're going to focus on that. And before we get into the form, I do just want to kind of emphasize a point of focus that I would like us all to have as we practice this form. So I'm going to make a little drawing here. Hopefully you all can see it. So we have a skull, we have a rib cage, we have a pelvic girdle. Kind of like the three treasures, Jing, Qi, Shen, right? We'll put a nose here. So this is the front. So in Chinese physiology, we have this idea of what are known as the ancestral sinews. They're like the muscle groups that basically link all of this together. It integrates all of it. And I believe there's 5 of them. I'll draw them and then we'll know how many there are. But so we have, and they're actual muscle groups that we all know. They're not kind of esoteric meridians. So we have the erector spinae, which run down the backside of the body. That connects all of them. We have the sternocleidomastoid muscles, which connect our head to our rib cage, to our collarbones. We have our diaphragm, which connects the rib cage to the pelvic girdle. And then we also have our psoas, which really emerges kind of out of the diaphragm, but we're going to start it up here. We have the psoas muscle that also connects. And then we have the abdominal muscles. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. 1 for each element, really, like water, metal, wood, fire, earth. So the ancestral sinew that I'd really like to focus on with this form is this one here, the sternocleidomastoids. These are very important muscles. And when we do this form, there's a lot of arm stuff that we do with this form because it's heart-oriented. So it's chest, shoulders, arms. There's a lot of that work. A lot of people have neck and shoulder issues. And so this form can be challenging if you have those issues and we're doing this form. However, well, I'll demonstrate. So if your head is just a little bit sitting forward and your arms are out front, you can even do this as an experiment. You can let your head be forward like how most of us drive or sit at the computer or read. So our head's here, and then you put your arms out. I imagine most of you are feeling the effort kind of on the top of the shoulder, right in through here. But if you think about from the back of your head, if you pull back and reach up, some of that energy moves out of this area. There's still some, and it drops into the backside of the body, underneath the shoulders. And so our arms are actually being supported not by our neck and shoulder muscles, these small little neck and shoulder muscles. They're being supported by one of the biggest muscles, I think the biggest muscle in the body, which is the latissimus. And so this idea of constantly thinking about if you're pulling up and back through the back of the head, which engages the sternocleidomastoid, which lifts the collarbones up, allows the shoulders to drop down and back, gets the latissimus engaged. You can do a lot of arm work, and your neck and shoulders are just free. They're busy lifting the head up. They're not moving the arms. The movement of the arms is coming from the lats, coming from the big deltoids, from big back and shoulder muscles, not small neck muscles. So I'm going to be referencing that and cueing that a lot as we move through this form. So I just wanted to kind of presence it first. So we have a little bit of background about what's going on there, because there's going to be lots of times where we may stop in the midst of a movement and pull our heads back, up and back, engage the sternocleidomastoids, maybe even turn the pinkies down a little bit to feel the underside of the arm and shoulder and back. So then we can move a lot more freely, move a lot more strongly. Okay, enough talking. Now we'll do Qigong. All right. Yeah, so maybe just starting with that if you want. Like, let's, we can kind of ease our way into some shaking. If you're ready to just start shaking, you can go for it. But yeah, if you need to kind of warm up, a couple deep breaths, engage and discharge, and then just let it evolve into maybe a little more consistent movement and discharge and deep breathing and audible exhales. Like, let it move. It doesn't have to be a sigh of relief. It can be a sigh of, God damn it. But just get it out. And it can be small movements. It can be big movements. It can be twisting movements. Like, this is spontaneous. This is your practice. So it can look like however it looks. It doesn't have to look like anything that anyone else is doing. And as you shake, you can just shake and feel what you feel and let it move. And it can also be helpful sometimes to move through the different tissues in your body. So if you want to think about shaking and starting with your joints, with your articulations. Like, I like to bounce my shoulders up and down to just feel these big shoulder joints moving, which then also kind of brings me into my elbows a little bit. My knees are bouncing up and down and bending. I'm aware of them. I can feel into my hip and SI joint. Just all of the big joints in the body, the bends and curves, the places where most of the acupuncture points are actually located. Wrists, elbows, shoulders, knees, hips, ankles. And from the joints, you can also then transition into some of the muscles, the tendons and the ligaments, the flesh. I like to kind of wiggle my legs to feel my thighs shake around my bones, like my quad muscles shaking loose from my femur bones. Feel the tissue that jiggles as it's jiggling. And from the muscles, you can then also transition into your organs, including your sensory organs, like feeling your eyes, inside the eye sockets, your tongue, and down your throat into your chest, your lungs, and your heart, and your liver, and your stomach, and spleen, and your intestines, and kidneys, and urinary bladder, reproductive organs, all of it, moving, bouncing, finding space around the organs so that they can slide against each other, not be bound up and stuck. From the organs, feeling into the bones, maybe feeling your feet bones as they're touching the ground, and even let your teeth maybe gently touch and even clatter a little bit as you bounce. Feeling the bones of your skull and your neck and your big shoulder blades, arm bones, leg bones, hip bones, all connected to each other. And winding it down, shaking out the arms, maybe kicking out through the legs. Slowing down, coming into some kind of stillness where there's still movement, feeling the movement of the breath, the movement that's happening inside of us, physically and energetically, even as we're not moving as much as we just were. Let's inhale our arms out to the sides, and then exhale them down. Palms back to back, let's inhale up. Exhale out. 2 more like that. Up and out. And follow your hands with your gaze. Inhaling up, looking up, exhale. And now, let's gather. So up and out. Exhaling down. 2 more like that. Looking up at the hands and exhaling, following them with your mind's eye down the front of the body. 1 more time, big inhale. Exhale. Let your hands come to rest in front of the lower dantian, front of the belly button. And so here, it's easy as the hands come down to kind of come a little forward. So what we want to do is lift up and back through the base of the skull. With the elbows, think about spreading elevator doors apart. So there's some gentle reaching through the elbows so you can get wide. And maybe even reaching out with the elbows, like out and even slightly down so that you can feel those big lat muscles engage on the back side of the body, which help to pull you up and back. And breathe. Breathe wide into the rib cage. Reach up and back through the back of the head. And this is not easy. It's challenging. It engages muscles that we don't always use, that for a lot of us, they might be a little bit weaker, a little bit atrophied from underuse, but they're designed to be used and they get strong quickly. But if you do start to feel fatigued, don't fully come out of it, but see if you can maintain it with less effort. Can you maintain the same awareness of lifting through the back of the head without efforting as much? Can you keep the elbows spreading wide without, again, so much effort? But it's almost like just a natural happening that comes from engaging these ancestral sinews. Like when you spread the elbows wide, lift up through the back of the head, the collarbones naturally lift and the shoulders naturally drop. And then there's a lot more room to breathe and see if you can find that space with your breath. Breathe into that space. And then on your next inhale, float your hands up to your heart. Exhale, palms forward, push away. Still reaching up and back through the back of the head. Inhale, open the arms wide. Palms can turn up, you can look up, and then palms down. Exhale, the hips move back. Lift your toes, the weight is in the heels, the knees can bend as the hands come down, and then the arms reach out in front, but we're still reaching up and back through the base of the skull. You can lift your toes, you can spread your knees apart, and as you're spreading your knees away, press up. Inhale. And then exhale down the front. Let your palms continue to face the ground. And as you inhale, press down towards the ground through your palms. Reach up through the back of your head. And then relax. Inhale. The palms reaching down for the floor. The back of the skull reaching up and back for the sky. Heels are rooted, toes can lift and relax. So So move with the breath. Inhale, strong. Exhale. One more, inhale. Exhale. The hands can come in and down as we inhale. And then exhale, the hands come on either side of the waist. Just breathe for a few moments, catch your breath, check back in, lifting up and back through the back of the skull. Weight is more in the heels than the balls of the feet. If you need to lift your toes, you can. So just breathe natural here. What we're going to do is, with our hands, we're going to chop our hips back. So right here, let's stay. So we're not going very far. It's just that much. Knees are soft. They're not locked. So right here, if you're forward like this, and even if you're not, think about from the back of the head, lift up and back, which may pull you up a little bit. You might not be bending as deeply. That's fine. You might feel those erector spinae all the way down the backside of the body. Engage. That's great. Let your weight be more in your heels. Lift your toes. If you're in the balls of your feet, push your hips back a little further. Lift the toes. Lift through the back of the skull. Let the hands come back out to the sides, and then let the hands circle forward. As they do, the hips reach away from the hands. And then pull the hips and the hands towards each other. So again, chop the hips back, lifting through the back of the skull. The arms come out. As they float around, the hips and the hands move away from each other. Pull the hips and hands towards each other. Nice and easy, chopping back. Back of the skull nice and long. Hips and hands move away from each other, and we pull them together. Again, we can inhale and exhale. And the hands can stay low, like around waist level. They don't have to come out too high. Inhaling, long, slow inhale. Exhale. Maybe reaching back a little further with the hips as the hands float forward. Lifting through the toes, weight in the heels, knees are soft, and we pull together. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Let the hands float out to your sides. Exhale. Palms back to back. We're going to inhale up. Exhale, open. The palms are facing up. Inhale up. Turn the palms to face down and exhale. All the way down, palms back to back. Again, in. Out. Inhale up. Palms down. Knees can bend as you come down if you'd like. Palms back to back. In. Out. In. Out. Palms back to back. This time we're going to inhale up. Open out. And hang out here for just a moment. And so palms facing towards your head. Elbows can be soft. Shoulders are relaxed. If they're up high, let them relax. If your head is forward, pull it back. If you're in the balls of your feet, let your knees soften. Shift to your heels more than the balls of your feet. Spread the floor apart. Take a breath. Exhale. Take a breath here. And then take your hands and point them at the lower dantian. And so again, this is our check-in point. It's easy to have the shoulders rounding forward when we get here. So think about pulling up and back through the back of the head, which pulls the collarbones. Up and back, the shoulder blades settle onto the back of the rib cage. Let the weight pour down through the heels. It's like the heels and the base of the skull are reaching away from each other. Take a breath into that. Next inhale, let your hands float out and up. And then exhale around. Inhale, come through the bottom of your ribs. And exhale, push it out. Again, in. Big breath. One more. Inhale the arms out and up. Exhale to the third eye. Again, reach up and back through the base of your skull. Take a breath. Next inhale, open your third eye. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale the fingertips to the top of the skull by Hui. Reach up and back through the base of your skull. Reach the base of the skull away from the sacrum, away from the heels. Let the hands float down the midline, over your face, and then coming to rest in front of your heart. Reach up and back through the base of your skull. Let the shoulders rest back. Again, if you're forward this way, it puts a lot of strain on these muscles. Reach up and back. If you need to, roll your shoulders up and back. So these muscles are removed from the equation. The arms are free. Press the back of the palms together and then roll the palms together. So we've done that little form previously. It's called the Huigong warm-up for the Huigong forms, which we're going to begin now. This one is Huigong for the heart. So turn your fingertips away from you. Extend out. And so you can see on Zoom, one at a time. Pinky finger, ring finger, middle finger, index finger, and then the palms face away. Take a breath here. As you exhale, let the hands float back to the chest. And as you inhale, reach your hips back and your hands forward. And then exhale. Inhale. Exhale. This time we're going to hold, so inhale. And breathe naturally, but breathe here. Think about reaching up and back through the base of your skull. It may cause you to lean not as far. Take a breath. Exhale. I think of it as like I'm closing drawers with my hands and a drawer with my butt. Exhaling, in, out, in, and out. So not only pushing this drawer in front of us closed, but the drawer behind us with our hips. Push it closed, lift your toes. One more, in, out. Let the arms just flow out in front. Let's make big circles. Easy. And lead with your elbows, not the arms. So the elbows lead and the arms follow. Or the forearms and the hands follow. Round movements, circular movements are restorative. So we're doing work like that movement we just did is a little more muscular, more linear. So we make circles to rest, to restore. Let the hands float out in front and then draw them in. Touch the center of your chest. Connect to your heart. Now we'll draw up the sternum to the top of the sternum, and then if you can, trace your fingers out your collarbones, out the top of your shoulders. Turn your palms away, and then inhale, push. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's hold here. Breathe natural. So what we're going for, we have a little penguin, so like the fingertips are coming in like bird beaks. The elbows are drawing in and down, and they're on the sides of my body, so we're not out here. We're coming in, elbows pulling in and down. So you feel the backside of the body, the lats. Squeeze like little, get silly. And reaching up and back, so the chin is tucked, really exaggerating that. So stretching the back of the neck, nice and long. Squeezing the elbows into the body and down. Pinching with the fingers. Bending at the knees, still weighted in the heels. Let's take a breath here. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. In. Out. One more. Arms can float out, and now let's make big backward circles. Circular movements. Again, leading with the elbow. And just as big as is comfortable. Stay within your range of motion. Opening up the shoulder girdle, opening up the chest, opening up the space in the back behind the heart. Breathing. One more time. And then we'll inhale up. Exhale to Bai Hui, the top of the head. Let the hands float down the midline, over the face, over the throat, over the chest and belly, and down into the lower dantian. Fold one hand over the other, over the lower dantian. Bring your hips around your waist. And then from here, we're going to push our hips into our hands. So we're hinging, reaching up and back through the back of the head. Reach back with your hips. When you can't go back any further, start to bend your knees. But we're not folding, we're squatting like you're sitting in a chair. Hands come down. Reach the hands out in front. Move your knees away from each other, that direction. And then spreading wide, stand up. And then again, around the waist, hips back, like you're sitting down in a chair. Go back as far as you can with your hips. When you can't go any further, start to bend the knees. Lift your toes, the weight is in the heels. Hands come out in front, knees spread apart. Press through your feet to stand up. Whew. One more time. Hands to the belly, around the waist. Reach your hips back into your hands as far as they will go. When you can't go back any further, then you start to go down. Reaching up and back through the base of the skull, knees spreading wide, arms out in front. Press through your feet and relax. Breathe. Feel your heart beating. Feel your blood pumping. The heart is a fire organ. You might feel warmth, feeling the yang energy of your blood coursing through your vessels. The fluid of the heart is sweat. You might be sweating a little bit. Feel that movement. Feel your whole body as a heart, a beating, pulsing node of consciousness. Feeling the breath in your body, feeling your feet on the ground, the back of your skull lifting into the sky, breathing with your whole body. As you're ready, you can inhale your arms out to the sides. This time we're going to make big forward circles. Again, leading with the elbows. And just going as big as is comfortable for you, staying within your range of motion. Not doing anything that feels like it's going to injure you. Finding your breath at your pace. One more time, and then we can inhale the arms out to the sides, palms up, take a breath. Exhale, elbows in and down, making a beak, back of the skull up and back. Inhale, bring yourself out. Three more. Last one. Big breath and exhale. Big inward circles. Allow the circular movements to just bring some restoration, some rest, some ease. And then the hands could come up and around, out in front of you. So this time, the first time it was hips and hands away from each other. This time, and do this as gently as you need to, we reach the hands forward and we reach back with the head, looking up, maybe. If looking up doesn't feel safe for your neck, just keep your chin tucked and lean back. And then we'll come in. So inhale, stretch. Exhale. In. Out. In. Out. Two more. Last one. Bring the hands up and over. And then inhale. Exhale, hands to Bai Hui. Let them float down the front of the face and bring them to your third eye. I'll get a little closer for the camera. So middle fingers touch the third eye. And then gently draw each fingertip over each eyebrow. And then down the side of your face in front of your ear. Under the bottom of the ear. Up behind the back side of the ear. Follow it all the way back up to the top of your head to Bai Hui. From Bai Hui, we'll trace down the back of the skull to the base of the skull, down the back of the neck to the base of the neck, around the base of the neck to the top of the sternum, over the sternum, to the bottom of the sternum, the base of the rib cage. Trace the base of the rib cage down and around. Coming to the spine, see if you can reach up a little higher, touching behind the heart, and then trace the spine down to the lower back, to Ming Mun, the center of the lower back, the gate of destiny. From here, we can bring our hands around to the lower dantian. And then here, similar to the movement we did before, but a little different. It's storing qi, if you've done the 9 phases of qi cultivation. So from here, let the hands move down and just bending the knees, not hinging forward. Hips moving back slightly. Weight still mostly in the heels. And then inhale, gather. Exhale. Inhale at the waist. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale at the waist. Exhale, hips back slightly, knees bend. Inhale, gathering up. And exhale. 2 more, like this. In, out, in, out. 1 more. In, out, in, out. Let the hands float down to the belly. Around the waist and to the sides. And again, feeling the beating of the heart, the pumping of the blood, maybe with a little less intensity than it did the last time we paused, but still happening. Remember to reach up and back through the base of your skull, maybe lifting the toes off the ground. Weight more in the heels and the outside edges of the feet than in the balls of the feet. Breathing wide behind the heart. Inhale the arms out and up. Exhale, fingertips to Bai Hui. Inhale, open Bai Hui. And just breathe natural, this movement called making clouds. So let's bring the window hand up to the center. The mirror hand becomes a beak. The window hand is coming down to the center. And like we've got clouds in our chest, we're kind of taking them and just sending them out into the sky. As we get out as far as we can go with this window hand, it becomes a beak. And now the mirror hand floats up, brings us to center, and drops down. And now we can gather those clouds from the chest and just send them out. This hand becomes a beak. Other hand floats up. You guys are so good. Right down. Make clouds. Gathering. Sinking. Sending them out. Make a beak and transition. Down through the center. Send the clouds out into the sky where they can do some good. Gathering up to center. 1 more time. Sending clouds out. Gather up both hands now. Return to Bai Hui. let the hands float down the midline, over the face and throat, coming to rest in front of the heart center. Press the back of the palms together and then roll the hands together. Point the fingertips away. Keep them close to you this time. We're going to open with the pinkies, ring, middle finger, index finger, thumbs. Taking the right hand, so my same right hand as your right hand, send it forward, gather up, and if you can, reach back around to your shoulder blade, and then draw that hand forward under the collarbone. To about here. Left hand, send it forward, gather, reach back, touching the shoulder blade, and then draw it under the collarbones. And we're going to make a sound, the healing sound for the heart, which is ka. And as we make the sound, we'll make it 3 times. Feel the vibration in your chest. Allow it to open things up. Allow it to shake everything in there loose so that it can move out. We'll do it 3 times. Ka. So, big breath in. Breathe. Relax. We'll take a pause before we make the second sound. So this is from the 6 healing sounds for the organ networks. The sounds, the vibrations help to restore balance and harmony when our hearts are troubled, too much excitement, worry, anxiety, whatever. The sound can help bring us back to baseline. Inhale. Take a couple breaths, just pause. I notice when I make the sound, I feel like I have to relax areas in my throat, relax my tongue so that feels like it opens up more. I can feel the areas of tension and restriction. So use this as an opportunity to feel that. Allow it to soften. Allow the sound to come through. Allow you to come through. One more. Inhale. Send the arms out in front. Unwind, palms together. Hands come back in front of the heart, fingertips face up. Closing sequence here. Send the arms up, and then fingertips to Bai Hui. Reaching up and back through the base of the skull, relaxing the shoulders. Breathing naturally, let the hands move back, and then open around. Bring your fingertips to your third eye. Take a breath. And then almost like you're swimming, let the hands extend out in front and bring them around to the sides of the rib cage, the liver, the spleen. And again, like you're swimming, send them out in front, hips move back like you take a breaststroke. Come around to the back side of the body, the kidneys, the back of the lower dantian, reaching up and back through the base of the skull. And then hands come out and around to float down in front of the lower dantian. So back to our starting posture. Reaching up and back through the base of your skull. Elbows holding elevator doors apart, maybe with a little intention towards the ground to engage those big muscles underneath your shoulders. Knees softened, you can lift your toes, finding the hard parts of the bottom of your feet, spreading the floor apart. Fold one hand over the other, over your belly. Bring the hands around the waist, to the sides of the body, and down. Feel your alignment. Feel the ground beneath you. Feel stability in your posture, in the earth, in the boundless sky that's holding all of this. Feel your breath moving through your body. Allow your breath to be steady, stable, and calm. In that calmness, allowing the turbulent waters of the mind to settle, to become still, so that just like a still pond at dawn can reflect things clearly rather than being a blurred, distorted image. Clear reflection. Empty, like a clear mirror. Let's inhale our arms out and up and bring our feet a little closer together. Exhale down the front of the body. Hands into Diamond Mudra. Let's rub our hands together. Relax your stance. Massage the face up and down a couple times. Back and forth over the top of the head. Down the back of the neck and around over the chest, lower ribs and abdomen. Around the waist to the lower back. Draw the hands out. Shake them out. Let's pat up one arm and down. Up the other arm and down. Around and down the back of the legs. Up the front. One more time. Around and down. And up. Let's see, there's something on here. Okay. Okay. Good. So that was a little more vigorous than what we've been doing the past little bit. But, you know, we're getting ready to move into spring, and sometimes getting the body really moving, maybe even a little bit tired, a little bit challenged. Like it, one, helps to kind of clear things out, and it also helps to remind us, like, we can do hard things. We are capable, And even if we're only partially capable, we can also increase our capacity. This is what these things do. You know, it's not necessarily like self-improvement, but it is like cultivating an ability to be with what is. All right. So thank you so much. Thank you for practicing with me. And Huigong for the heart. Yeah. All right. Yes. Have a good week. I'm not going to be traveling until mid-March, so we should be having class for the next little bit here pretty consistently. All right. So thank you so much. Okay. And thank you all for practicing. If you'd like a recording, just let me know and I'll send you the link. All right. Have a great week.